All right, everybody. So welcome back, and let's continue to stages and passes topic. So what I have here is an example of a workflow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start very simple. So this is basically our subdivision workflow that we're going to do basically in stages. So this is going to be our first stage, this is going to be our second stage, and this is going to be our third stage. So if we just reveal how the wireframe looks like, we can see that we are increasing in difficulty each time. So basically what is happening is that we start very slow. We start with the basic blockout. We only establish the geometry that we need. So you notice here that we do not have any extra edges that we do not need. So every edge here is establishing sort of a shape somewhere. So if I would now have an edge here, basically this edge is not necessary because it's not helping me establish any shape whatsoever. So we start very low and we keep it very low until we have a specific shapes established. Once we are certain that this is the shape that we want to go with, so let's say that we want to detail it even further, then we go into the second stage. And basically our second stage is the one where we add supportive edges, where we equalize the topology. So more or less we're making sure that we have even distribution of the edges. And yeah, then we basically finalize that section and then move on to the detailing stage. And this is our then third stage. So once we are established supportive edges all over, so let me just isolate these two. So once we established supportive edges, and once we established our topology that we have more or less even distribution of edges across the surface, then we can focus on creating details. Because if our edge distribution is not as even, we might encounter some problems later. It's still fixable, but it's definitely suggested that in this stage we just make an even spread as much as we can, and then we can focus on manipulating that geometry and adding more and more details. So this is going to be our workflow. So blocking out stage first, very low poly, only the number of polygons that we need. Second stage, we add supportive edges and even spread of our topology, making sure that everything is as it should. And then in the third stage, we can add details, and basically this is how it looks in the end. So let's do that now. So what I'm going to do is just isolate this one and let's go through the process together. All right, so what we have here is, again, it's fairly simple object at first, but it has a lot of interesting topology here and a lot of stuff we covered. So for example, we covered, let's say, triangle looking things and what we need to do with triangles. We covered this sort of connection. So basically everything that we practiced so far in previous video on the plane surfaces, that we're talking about edge flow, supportive edges, now we can actually see it in practice. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to select all of the edges that I want to sharpen up, basically that I would like to have supportive edges with. So I'm just going to select all of these like this. So for example, if I would want to have here smoother edge, then I don't need to select this one, let's say, but I'm going to do it just because. So let's do this. And also I have here symmetry on object Z, simply because I'm not working in world symmetry. And I believe that this is it from whatever we need. So let me just bevel this and let's create a fraction like this. All right, so now we encounter a couple of problems, because before, what we did in a previous video, we started with supportive edges. But here the problem is, you see what is happening. So here we are missing an edge, and we can add to this technically like so. But the problem is that this is just too wide of a spread. So what I would do then here first, and also maybe let me redo to show one more thing. So this one as well. So this one is actually searching for an edge, and it would be here. Let me just show you what I mean. So it would be here, then this one would need to go here as a redirection, and this one would be here. And if we check this, I mean, technically it is correct, but it's just too wide of a spread. And this is something that we don't want. So in this case, what we're going to do, we're going to add topology first. So even spread first, and then supportive edges, because this is the reason. So I know that I mentioned previously in previous video, we started with the supportive edge, but this is now a bit different case. So let's do that next. So what I'm going to do is just add an even spread where I can. Here we have a triangle, so here's going to be a bit of a problem, but still we're going to try. And actually I'm going to remove this edge for now, and I'm going to add this here, and let's add one here, and let's add one more here, and let's add one more here, because we will need that. And here actually now you can notice that we cannot. And like I mentioned before, if we really want to, we can add this type of connection and then fix it later. But for now, I'm going to leave it open. And let's add here as well. Here we can add, basically again, just evening out as much as we can. And then essentially we would need one here. But what I can do is actually remove this edge because I'm going to solve it later. And let's add one here, and then we need one here. So now this looks more even spread out. So like I said, here we're still missing in the middle, but for now I'm going to leave it open. And basically also maybe what we can do is we can add it and then connect like so. And let's connect this here in the middle. And then we need to just remove that part. And let's do the same thing on the back. Basically just connect it to here. And actually no, what I want to do is vice versa. So like this. And then, wait, let me just actually remove this because now even I'm confusing myself. And still here I want to delete it. So we have this. And okay, so here we have a pole, so I'm gonna do it like this, remove this part, and then just add here loop in the middle. And basically we now closed that loop here, like so. So we have more geometry and we close it here. So basically this is now the loop and it's closed here. All right, let's now go and deal with this situation that we have right here. So basically this loop needs to come to here. And now what is happening is that we have a lot of polygons that we need to connect. So I'm going to connect this one to here. I'm going to connect this one to here. And I'm going to connect this one to here. And then maybe we can slide this one a bit more down. Like so, and then we can connect the remaining ones here as well. And if you want to, again, just even it more out, we can slide this one down, slide this one down, slide this one down, and there we are. And now we can deal with this situation, what we have here, where this goes to here. All right. All right, so now we have even spread. There's one problem, and the problem is that I would like actually, so you see what's happening here. That's here the area is becoming a bit too dense. So if I move this to the side and move this to the side, this would be more ideal. So basically this one is for now an extra. So I actually do not need this one because I like it like so. So I'm just scale this edge here and maybe like this. Just slide it. So basically this is the distance that I want, because if you remember when we did this bevel, that this area was searching for this part right here. So this is even out distance. I said we can even it out even more to put it directly in the middle. And let's even out this like so. Delete this part, and there we are. So now we have this open area here, but we can now fix this by connecting this point to here on the top like this. But for now we're gonna leave it because I'm gonna do that after we add supportive edge. So for now I'm gonna just remove it, but I just want to mention again what we're gonna do. So we're gonna do this, and then we have okay, didn't connect. Let me just try one more time. Okay, so it did connect here something. Okay, so like this, and basically we have this triangle, and we're gonna connect this triangle like so. And basically then here we have a quad. So we're gonna do that after we do supportive edge, because I think for now we evened out most of the things that we need, and then the remaining, which is this area, we can add after the supports. All right, let's now go ahead and try to add supports and see how that goes. And let's do this here. I mean, technically we could have dealt with that now, but I think it would maybe be easier once we have a support loop. So let me just select all this here. And there's also one thing we will be careful now about, is that this area is a bit tight here. So we need to see how the bevel forms. So let's select this, and let's select this as well. And I believe that this is everything that we need. And let's bevel this. And I'm going to use chamfer off, and let's see how much of a fraction we can get here, because we need to be careful about this edge. And now you can see what is happening to this edge right here. It's shrinking to this area, and I think it will be just fine if we go with this. Let me just see. Okay, it's maybe a bit too sharp. So let's go a couple of steps back, and this is the maximum that it can go. So we will need to do some manual work there. And let me just preview again. All right, this still might be a bit too sharp. So what we can do is basically isolate this and do it as a standalone and see what that does. Or what we can do is maybe remove this for now. I will just remove this for now. I'm gonna remove this for now and leave it like this. And then we're gonna add this loop later, because you see what is happening here is that we had two edges that were here a bit too close and then preventing bevel from expanding. So that is why we removed this edge loop from the middle, and then we're gonna bring it back after the bevel. So that might be a better solution. So sometimes it will happen that specific edges will get in your way, so we can then remove them and then bring them back. So this is just, again, problem solving, but nothing that we cannot handle. So let's select everything one more time. And here's something selected that I did not want to select. This I didn't want to select. And control, basically I'm control click and then control click here. And here we need to select this. Okay, so again, what the problem here is that symmetry was messing with us. So symmetry here is messing with us. So I'm gonna connect this here and delete this. Let's see now. All right, now it should work. I'm making it maybe looking more complicated than it is, but basically what we did is just we removed one edge there in the middle because it was getting away in our beveling. And I'm just trying to select all of these edges back. And basically now that we have them selected, we can try that bevel one more time. And I think this time we're gonna have much more room to play with. So you can see now bevel has much more room here. And we can almost come to this area. And this is much better now. So it's not as sharp as highlight as it was before. And now what we can do is we can bring this edge back that was missing. And there we are. Okay, let's now bring this edge a bit more up here, like so. And basically this edge is now searching for this one here. It might look that it's want to connect to this one, but remember we need to redirect it like so. So this is what we actually need. So even though that it was looking that this edge is searching for this one, that is not the case. So we need to do a couple of fixing here. So I'm gonna just slide it over. And now you see that this is a very stretched polygon, but luckily, since we are thinking about even distribution, we have this one ready to connect right here. And then what is happening is that we do have a quad here, and then quad here. And the only thing that we need to do is just connect this to this little triangle right here. And let's even out this area a bit more. Just give it a bit more tension away from there. And there we are. So it's pretty nice corner right here. And this is again what we were talking about, that there will be situations where we have a tight corner like this spreading into wide corner, and now we are using that 3-to-1 connection once more. So we have this, and basically this is our quad right here. All right, so now that we solved this, let's do a small breakdown. So basically we were just making sure that our topology is evenly spread so that we can add support. And if some of that topology, like we've seen here, was in our way, then we can just remove it and then bring it back later. And yeah, there we are. And then finally, as you notice here, what I just did that connection, like we again talked previously, and there we are. So now we are done here. Let's now focus on this area. So here we also need support. So I'm gonna do here a bevel like that, and then on that bevel I'm gonna do supports. So let's bevel this as well, and I think that will be fine. And yeah, there we are. All right, so now that we did that, so now we are technically in that second stage. So basically now we came to this stage. And after this one, now we can focus on the third stage where we can add details. So let me just come here. We can maybe compare, and I'm not sure will I manage to do it exactly the same, but we're gonna try. And I'm not going to look here, I'm just gonna focus on this one. So actually I'm gonna just take a quick look what we did, so maybe it's gonna be easier. All right, so we have detail here, we have detail side, because what I was doing is just experimenting. It's nothing really worth mentioning, nothing special. Let me just see one more time what we did here. All right, so then we can maybe reuse some of the things. It really doesn't matter. We can manage on our own. All right, so let's do this a bit more here up. Just slide it so I could have maybe a bit more space here. All right, and basically what we can do is we can then take this part here, and actually I want to connect it like this and this here, or maybe even more down, like so. And basically, yeah, now we can start doing detailing. But actually before doing detailing, now I noticed that we are missing one thing, what I mentioned before. Now we're missing this edge here, because we still need to evenly distribute this part of the edges, this part of the mesh. So let's do that. And this connects, oops, I didn't want to do that. This goes to here. And then this edge connects to this one down right here. All right, and now we have enough space on this side to add one more loop, like so, and then it will connect here and will stop on this triangle, and now we have this situation. And it should connect also on the other side, and for some reason it did not. So I'm gonna connect it manually to here. Okay, now I can see the problem. So for some reason, this loop, I did not connect it properly. So I'm just gonna connect it here. So what happened is just, I was doing manual connection before from if you remember, from this edge to here up, but actually it did not snap here, and then it left an open polygon. And since this was then an n-gon, the loop did not continue. But if we do it now, then the loop will continue. All right, so let's now slide this here, and let's now slide this here. And now what is happening is that we have a loop here all around. Okay, now we can focus on this detail. So let's bevel this. And like that. And let's now select everything. So basically I'm just, again, selecting one, double click on the other. And I'm sorry if I'm not explaining too much of the operations, but we did cover a lot of them in the previous classes, also when we were creating a tablet. So I'm just going ahead and I'm assuming that we are familiar with all of these operations already. So let me just again extrude this inside, and let's add 2 divisions. Let's preview this, and there we are. So we have this little detail. And also what I'd like to show is that we can now create those extra details, let's say inside, and we can do this. Again, we are just now experimenting with everything that we were talking about so far, all of these edge connections, and we're just basically, just experimenting with them and creating various situations from them, and just making our model looking more and more complex. And since we already have established a very good background with our even distribution, we are then basically free to explore as much as we want. So let me just repeat this one more time. All right, and then let's do a thickness and maybe a small offset. And maybe I will decrease it a bit, and then hit G one more time to repeat that thickness. Hit G one more time for that offset, and there we are. And then basically here, now what we are missing again, those support loops. And here we have this detail. And now the thing is, you might notice that here there is too much of a stretching. So if we want to now tighten this up, then again we use that same connections that we did before. So basically we would do this. This is our connection, and I will now explain. If you're not sure what we're doing, I will now explain in a second. So basically we are connecting it here, and then we need to connect this to here. And so I'll just push this a bit down. So I don't know if you recognize this. And basically that is the same if you would do this. It is the same thing. So basically these edges are now the edges that we added here. And yeah, that is again, it's a very simple shape, and it just helps us to create more tension here. So now you can see that we tighten it up this area, and it's not so elongated anymore. It's not looking circular, but more of a square look. And yeah, also you notice that this is now, since we added supportive loops before, this is not anymore on this edge, which is now, this is now a structural edge. And since we added our support, we have a place to work with. So you can now notice the pattern that everything has a purpose in the way that we create stuff. There is a purpose why support loops are there. There's a purpose why we need even spread of topology, because later on it's going to make our life much easier. So let's create another detail here, and let's do another offset. All right, so what I would like to do here is I would like to offset these, but separately, like that there is a loop here in the middle, that actually there is a gap, and I cannot do it like this. So you can notice that it's actually together. If I come here to keep faces together, then it's actually take all faces apart. So what I will do here, I will disable the symmetry for a second. So let's disable the symmetry, and then I'm going to do one. So basically this is what I want, and then this is also what I want on the other side. So what we can do is we can copy the value. So let's say 0.02 like that, and we can do the same thing here now. So let's offset to 0.0 2. So now we have the same offset. And then what I want to do, I want to do here a circulates components, and I'm going to do radial offset like this because I want to do a small circle. Hit Q to confirm. Now the problem is that this is way off, so it's on the top, and I want to push it down. And basically we can now go to world orientation, object orientation, and you will see that the axis will point always in that direction, but I want it to point in the direction of the selection. So let's hit D, and let's now just with the orient, I'm going to click here, and you will see now that it's going to orient on this surface. So now I can hit D again, and then I can push it along the normal like this and even it out a bit more. I can also rotate it here if I want to, but I think it's maybe like this better, maybe like that. All right, now we need to do the same thing on the other sides, and now the problem is there was a lot of tweaks that we did, and it's going to be maybe hard to replicate. One thing that we can do here is delete complete half and then just mirror this on the other, or we can simply symmetrize. So if you missed symmetrize option we were talking about, it's in a symmetry video, so please check that out in case you missed it. So basically here's what's happening. We have the same number of points here as we have same number of points here. So just because we have same number of points, we can select this points here and go to edit mesh, symmetrize, and then select the middle. It's going to ask that we select a mesh edge for symmetry. And if we select the middle, then it's going to automatically flip on the other side and affect the other points as well. So that is pretty cool. And now we can go ahead and do an offset here, do a supportive edge loop, hit G to do one more. And I'm going to add a small thickness inside like this, hit G one more time, even more thickness, hit G one more time, small offset for support loop, and there we are. So now we just need to add a few supports here manually, but I can also now turn the symmetry. And let me do insert edge loop tool one more time, add loop here and add loop here, and there we are. So that is one detail, and I think we're pretty close. So what else we need? All right, so let's do this connection. So for example, what we need, I would like to connect this to here. So let's do like this panel break effect, and let's select this. So I'm just clicking on one edge and then double clicking on this one, and do the same thing here. And let's do a bevel like this, and let's do a small fraction. Okay, maybe I should now delete my history because I noticed that I have this on hotkey, but we can go to edit, delete all by type, and then history. So we can now select this part. I will do a small offset here for support edge loop, hit G one more time, offset, and let's add thickness and G to repeat a bit more thickness like so. I'm making it this deep because I really want to have that highlight, making sure that there is a gap. So hit G one more time, offset again for this inner support loop. So we're making sure that even inside there's a support loop. So I'm going to hit Q to confirm and add now supports here wherever we need it. And we need one here in the middle as well. Not here, but here. And there we are. Also now you can notice that this is not fairly smooth, and what you can do again is the same thing like we did before to tighten it up using this type of connection. Again, this is something that we already mentioned, that we can always recognize this. So you can see here now it's looking much sharper, but I think I'm going to leave it as it was before. So I'm going to just go a couple of steps back and leave it like this. All right. And let's now do a detail here. So basically what we had is a small circle, and basically to do a small circle here, now we need more geometry. And what we can do is we can do bevel, and we can bevel it like this. Make sure we have a chamfer off. And I think this will be okay. And what I can do now is just connect this to here and connect this to here, this to here, and this to here. And again, what is happening is that we have this situation. Like so. So it's the same thing. Let me just reset the pivot. And yeah, so this is the same thing. And I'm gonna go a couple of steps back. I'm gonna leave it as it is. And then we can use this part as a circle. And this is an offside. So if you would like to have one more edge loop here, you can see that our edge loop is now going all over the place because we added a lot of edge loops for a detail. Then again, we would need to redirect some of the edges inside. But I think for circle, it's fine. 4 sides is a minimum that we need, and I think this will be enough. So let's go to circulate components, and let's twist it a bit, add radial offset. So I'm again holding Control and Shift. With Control, Control, you can actually control the radial offset, but Shift and Control will give you even more smoother control there. A lot of controls. So let's extrude this inside one more time. And I'm going to create small offset for support loop here and hit G to repeat that and add thickness, and hit G one more time to create even more thickness. Hit G one more time to create an offset loop. G one more time to create thickness for, let's say, a screw or something. Like this, hit the G to create a support loop, and I think this will do. And the only thing that we can do now is maybe add support loop here inside, like so. And we need a support loop here. And we need a support loop here. All right. And again, just delete the history. And there we are. All right, so let's see what else we did here. Okay, let's now do the side detail. So what I like to do also is break the surface. That means just that for now, the surface is very, very flat. And what I like to do is just break that flatness. And the way I like to do it is just like this. So I would select, let's say, these 2 loops, do a small offset. And let's say select this part right here. Let me just reset pivot one more time. And again, to reset pivot, I would just hit D until you get your edit pivot, and then right click and then reset pivot. It just looks fast, so it can be really fast done. So just hit D, right click and reset pivot. Basically, it's a very fast operation, but if you slow it down again, it's just D, right click, reset pivot, and D again. And let me just push this down, and then we have this situation, which again just gives an interesting look. We don't have to even add any extra edge loops. I mean, if you want, you can add one extra edge loop, which will tighten it up a bit more, but in some situations it's not necessary. It's also looking as a nice highlight in a render. And also here, what I like to do is just slide this a bit up, and then take this up as well, and maybe slide this also a bit to the side, and this as well, just to get that circular look. And then add one loop here, and then that also gives an interesting look right here. And basically, yeah, more or less, I think we can stop here, and that we managed to get similar results. I think that I went too far with this one, but yeah, more or less, this looks same. So it's basically just a practice. I don't know even what this is or what the purpose would be, but let's say if we create a kit bash something, maybe somewhere we could use it, but it's just like a practice, nothing special, I would say. So yeah, more or less, I think that this would be it then for this video. I'm gonna also leave a project file if you want to download and follow the video or just practice on your own. It will definitely be a good idea because we are covering here a lot of things that we went in previous videos, like again, supportive edges, even distribution, edge redirection, and so on. So from this point on, we are just basically going to scale up in difficulty again. We are not going to focus so much on explaining let's say what specific edge flow does, and because we already talked about that. So we're just going to now focus on the general workflow and see what we can create. So we're going to start with the camera, I believe, and then we're going to scale it up with each and every project more and more. All right, so in case that again something was not clear, feel free to ask in a comment section down below or in our Discord group. I'll be glad to help out. And yeah, I think that this is it for now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.